cop, one convict. I'm Dorian Graham, retired Atlanta Police Captain, 30 years of service. I'm here with Ricky Johnson. He did 34 years of prison time in state prison for crimes that he committed, and he is not happy of, but he did learn a lot. Ricky, tell us a little bit about yourself, Ricky.
Yes, I'm Ricky Johnson. Darren said I did 34 years, but I did 37 years.
Oh, my bad, 37 years, I'm sorry.
Yes, and I just was released 4 years ago after doing 24 years consecutive in the Georgia prison system. And so my period of incarceration started at a very young age. And my goal is to reach young people and try to deter them from a life of crime, that they won't have to go through what I went through in life. Crime, a judge's bench, and a coffin, there's a correlation between the two. And the connecting link between the two is crime. So if you get involved in a life of crime, you'll find yourself before a judge's bench, or you'll find yourself in a coffin, in a mortician. And so those are the two pathways that crime leads you to. And so if you think about committing crime, think about those pathways and take the alternative pathway through life, where you'll be able to enjoy life, be able to go to school, get your education, adventure through life, and do the things that you enjoy doing in life. Because prison will deprive you of all of that. And if you're a young man, you'll be deprived of the opportunity to reproduce yourself, because if you go into the prison system, it's a good possibility you'll be there for 25 or 30 years.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the judges. I know you said it's two ways, to the coffin or in front of the judge.
Right.
So not only just you, but even just in jail or in prison, I mean, did y'all ever talk about the judges and how y'all felt the judges reacted to you guys, or to y'all cases? Like, do y'all think that they gave y'all too much time, or do you think they were biased in any kind of way, or non-biased, or what was y'all thoughts on that in prison? Did y'all talk about it?
Well, you know, I wrote a quote while I was in prison, and the quote was, "Judgment, justice, and mercy. The person at the handle of the sword always wants judgment. The person at the tip of the sword is always looking for mercy. And justice is sandwiched between the two, and few men find it." And so people that are incarcerated, irregardless of whether they committed the crime or not, the majority of them feel like they was unjustly treated, which in the criminal justice system, there is a double standard. There's a double standard down racial lines. There's a double standard down economic lines, because most of the people that you find in prison, they're disproportionately minorities and people from poverty-stricken backgrounds.
Oh, wow. You know, we hear that all the time, that the prison system is full of more black people than white people. Is that true?
Oh, very true. In the United States, I think I could say that at least 60% of the people that are incarcerated as a whole in the United States are minorities, and disproportionately black.
Wow. Now, do you think they're disproportionately, or do you think it's more blacks in jail for non-violent crimes or violent crimes?
Violent crimes.
You think it's more blacks in prison for violent crimes?
Yes. And that's due to my experience in prison. And I was mainly at level 5 prison that housed violent offenders. And even when I was transferred to medium and minimum security prisons, most of the prisoners there had violent crimes. Most of the black or African American prisoners.
So I thought statistically, more white people committed murders, more white people committed rapes, more white people committed robberies. I thought statistically, more white people committed more violent crimes than black people. So you're saying that more black people are caught, or?
Well, white people, when it comes to violent crime, in the state of Georgia, the majority of white people that I encountered in prison with violent crimes, it was either rape, child molestation, incest, sodomy. The majority of them that had violent crimes, they was not incarcerated for murders and armed robberies and things of that nature that most of the young African American males was incarcerated for.
Oh wow, that's interesting to know. Okay. Anything else interesting you want to tell the viewers?
Well, you know, crimes that African American people commit, the penalties for those crimes are a little stiffer than crime that Caucasian people commit in society. Because most of the guys that I encountered in prison, white guys, they was in there for drug offenses. They were junkies. Most of them were junkies. And so they would commit crimes like theft, small theft crimes and things of that nature. And those crimes don't carry the type of penalties that an armed robbery would carry, or a crime of that nature that young black men are more likely to commit.
Wow. That's interesting. There's something I was just going to ask you, but I forgot. All right. Did you encounter, and I hope it's not a tough question, but did you encounter anybody in the prison system with you, and even yourself, that ever really admitted guilt to the crimes that they did?
Yes, the majority of the people in that, I mean, they would admit guilt to one another.
Okay.
Even if they were still litigating their cases in the courts and fighting their case and trying to obtain their freedom, you know, they would admit to each other that they committed the crime, but they were not going to admit to the authority, you know, the judicial authority that they committed the crime.
Wow, so you know that brings me to another question too, and I know we got to close out pretty quick, but so if that's happening, is that kind of tied into some of the the snitching with the prisoners and the government agencies about taking deals? When they talking like that, the person that they talking to, do they go back to the guards and say, hey man, I got some information, man, maybe y'all can lighten my sentence because so and so told me that they did X, Y, and Z. So does that happen a lot too, or some of the conversation that they having, it really stays in-house?
Well, in the state prison, there's basically no connection with in the state of Georgia anyway, with the correctional officers and the police department on the outside. So if you talk to a correctional officer about your crime and admit to the correctional officer that you did it would never leak back to the law enforcement in the county that you came from.
Well, how does that work then? Because like when they say people cutting deals and getting their sentence light, they working with the DA's office, so that's just outside talk or barbershop talk?
No, I mean in the federal penitentiary, that takes place a lot, but in the state penitentiary it's different. Now, I mean, people do that prior to coming to prison. Before they're sentenced, they may turn state evidence on their bus partner for a lesser sentence. But once they're incarcerated, as far as the state working a deal with an incarcerated person to testify against someone in society for a lesser sentence, once they have already been sentenced, that pretty much don't happen, that they don't take you back and cut your sentence. Now those things do happen in federal prison. You can be in federal prison for 50 years, and if you know somebody that you can roll over on that the federal government wanna incarcerate, then they may cut 25 years off your sentence. But I never saw that happen in the state prison.
Oh wow. All right guys, hey man, we got a lot of information here, wealth of knowledge walking around. He got a lot of interesting stories. We just concluded another episode, another great episode. We got more episodes to come with more great content. Hey, if you like what you're viewing, don't forget to comment, like, and hit that subscribe button. And until the next time, be careful, be safe, and do the right thing.